Hey guys, good morning. You can hear the rooster crowing. I wanted to shoot this quick video to talk about a program that is helping me and my family be able to plan out our garden. Before this program, I was writing everything by hand, manually, trying to space things out and see what I wanted to go where, companion planting, the whole thing. So this program has been very helpful, to say the least. And I wanted to just kind of show you what the garden looks like right now. And then I'm going to kind of give you a rundown on the program that I've been using. So this program that I'm using, I found it, I think it was like a paid sponsored video that I saw, and I clicked it when I was on Instagram. And what I like about it is the time saving that it has been. It's a little bit more, a lot of it, excuse you, that was Garth. It's a lot of bit time consuming in the beginning, but it's gonna save you a lot of time. And I know we all need that during the growing season because it is hard to keep up, especially when you have a 100 by 100 foot garden that you are trying to track and do all the things for. So because you're gonna see on Seedtime a kind of a layout of my garden, I wanted to give you like a physical look at it. So this is subplot 1 here, and there's gonna be, that's Luke. There's gonna be rows with drip irrigation going down all the way to the end, okay? So there's gonna be 10 lines of drip irrigation that will go all the way down. So this is subplot 1 where the chickens are right now, okay? So last year I grew things like tomatoes and peppers and beans and garlic and cucumbers, onions. Sorry guys. And lettuce, and spinach and just all the things. So that's here in subplot 1. And I have the chickens there now because they are working to fertilize our soil. I know most people don't like to buy synthetic fertilizers. Even organic fertilizers can be very expensive. So we are putting the chickens in here to do some of that fertilizing job for us. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna order a soil testing kit, and I'll drop the link in the description here. There's no affiliate or anything with them, but it's called Soil RX. I wanna say the name is. And that I heard about through the Seasonal Homestead. So if you're not following Becky over there, definitely go give her a subscribe. She's very, very helpful in showing her journey with her garden as well. So here is, part of this is subplot 1, and then the other part I have it sectioned off as subplot 2. So last year in subplot 2, I grew things like zucchinis and squashes, summer squash, winter squash, broccoli was in there, pumpkins and butternut squash, like I said, all the winter and summer squashes. Even the first year that we had the garden, not last year, but the year before that, we did some watermelons in here. So this is subplot 2 that you'll see on the Seedtime program. And as you can see in this bed, we also have our strawberries that are overwintering, along with some random weeds that kind of got in here. Over there is my medicinal garden that has some calendula, some coneflower, sage, hyssop, and some weeds, some broom straw that got in there too. So this is subplot 2 that you'll see. And they wanted to say hi. I know, you guys want to come out. It's been so rainy, we haven't been able to let the dogs out to keep an eye on you guys because of that fox that's been stalking. Luke's eye looks like it's still partially closed. Some of you might have missed it, but he got in a fight with our other dominant rooster, Domino. So he and his hens were out. I let them free range when we're home, just so we can keep an eye on them. And he decided to fight with Jason. Is that you, Jason? I think that's Jason right there. No, Jason is over there. Through the fence right here. Well, this post was not in the ground very good, or because it was wet, it was kind of loose and knocked down, and he was able to get into this pen. And I think at that point, Luke, and I didn't see all this go down, so I'm assuming it was Jason that fought with Domino first, because he's the one that typically starts them, because he doesn't have as many hens. We're working on that. So then I think that Luke interfered or got in there because he's the alpha in this flock. So yeah, so his eye is still partially shut. It's starting to open on the other side. You can see some bruises and scabs on his comb and his wattle, but that is what happened with that. And Garth's chasing Jason. Okay, so it's a mess. It's a muddy mess. We're working on getting grass and all the things. So if you don't know, we purchased this property back in 2022, and we started building our home, and this was cleared. It was cleared of trees, I want to say five years ago, before we got it. And then we cleared, which took off the topsoil, so I would not really recommend that. Permaculture methods are much better as far as that, but we were kind of pressed for time. So we did with what we knew, and we cleared it, which has some consequences. So anyhow, you'll see in the Seedtime plan that the chicken coop is here. You'll see the watermelon bed over there. And then you'll see 2 carrot beds, chicken coop, grapevines, carrot beds, and watermelon. And then the back part is subplot 4. And the back part over here is subplot 3. So you'll see that on the plans. I just wanted to give you guys a visual. So that way, when I'm going through and explaining it, it'll kind of give you a little bit more context. I know for me, I'm very visual, so wanted to do that real fast. We're gonna go ahead and head to the zoo. I'll show you some clips of that. And then when I get back, oh, and I need to go to the post office to ship out some tallow skincare stuff that I've been, I created a business online, Aruka Restorative Holistic. So if you haven't checked it out, be sure you check that out. It's so good. So I'm gonna ship that out, go to the zoo, and then when I get back, we'll go over that Seedtime plan. You ready? Were you watching me? No. I know. Come over here. All right, let's go. Okay, so sudden change of plans. The zoo's closed. I have no idea why. It's Friday. Like, even when it's cold, the zoo's open and we love it because there's like nobody there. So we came here to the elephants. So we made it here to the YMCA. The kids are playing in the background. I don't know why the zoo's closed. Like, I don't know. Anyway, so I wanted to kind of talk about, we're going to talk about seed time a little bit later in the video. I wanted to talk about some helpful things and kind of where my gardening had started back 10, 12 years ago. I started gardening in neighborhoods. So when we lived in neighborhoods before we bought our property, so my garden started out as 2 3-foot by I want to say 6-foot containers, raised beds. They were just boards that had hinges on the corners, and then I just filled some dirt in there, put some native soil in with some like planting soil, compost. And that was my gardening for a long time. I learned a lot. It was in Arizona. And one of the things that I learned was how to grow when it's completely sunny and scorching hot. So I got some experience with that. And then I also gardened in Ohio. I had like a 3-foot bed, but I want to say about the same, 6 to 8 feet. It was on a slope, so we kind of had it stilted up on the one side against the house, screwed into the brick, and it just kind of stood out, so it was kind of a raise on a slope. So anyways, and I learned how to grow in humid and hot and cold weather there. So I've had a little bit of experience. Gardening didn't just start when we bought our property. It's been kind of a long time coming, and that's why we now have the 4 huge subplots, 100 by 100 foot total, with the chickens and stuff in the middle. So just wanted to give a little bit of background into what my garden experience has been, kind of what I have done to improve as the years have gone on. What you can obviously just like grab some seeds and throw some stuff in the ground. That's kind of how I started. To a degree, I had no idea what I was doing, and that's okay, because you're gonna learn by doing, okay? So you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to know all the things to just get started. If you kill it, you kill it. And that's one of the things that, like, back when God was kind of calling me to start gardening, I was like, well, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I hope you don't mind that I'm gonna kill some of your plants. And that's okay. You can kill the plants and then learn better for the next time. And I just started with those little like seed pods. I'll have to get the actual name for them. I can leave them in the description, but I just started with a couple packets of seeds and a few trays of those with like things such as like cucumbers and peppers. I want to say that I tried some peas, but it was too hot at that time for me to do peas, so those died. What else? Cucumbers, peppers, did some tomatoes, and I think that was it for the most part for my first garden. Oh, and I did have some herb boxes that were up on the retaining wall, which is kind of like hip height, that I did some herbs like basil and rosemary, things like that. So you can start totally small, you can start big, but you may get overwhelmed. So it's always good to just start small. One of the things that I found as the years have gone on that helped me before I found Seed Time was I had purchased this gardening calendar off of Etsy, and I still to this day use it. Just because I'm one of those people that I like to have things digitally, but I also like to have things like written down, manual. I don't know, I guess it's just kind of a preparedness mindset that I like to have things in like print as well as documented online. So Seedtime is amazing for a digital version, and then it's also helping me to have that written out part so that I can actually go through and put it into the Seedtime a lot quicker. If you don't have things written down, it will take you a little bit, like I said, on the front end to get things transferred in there. But once you do, it's gonna take so much of the headspace out. It's gonna take a lot of the manual writing stuff out, and just really keep you in line as far as the scheduling during your weeks on what to do when and planning. So yeah, just wanted to give you a little bit of that rundown. We're gonna hang out here at the park for a little bit, and then I'll go home and show you guys that Seedtime on the computer.
Let me show you my countryside through these old headlights. We can take this road as far as you want to go. I'll show you how a country mile can take us all night. Feeling higher than a bull's tail up an old dirt road. I ain't gonna run or hide. We can let the fire burn wild. That's just my countryside.
Hi puppies, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. My babies, you're my babies, yes you. Okay, so we just got home, but I say all of that information about my gardening history, not that I know everything. By all means, I do not know all the things, and I think that's the beauty with gardening, is that you're constantly learning, like you're constantly evolving. You're learning new things. You are, even the most experienced gardeners, we kill things like all the time. It's never gonna stop. So if you've never gardened before, you need to start, and just start small. Start with something like 2 or 3 things, and grow and learn how to do those things well. Then you can expand the next year. So I'm gonna get ready and turn this around and show you a little bit of the Seedtime. If you've never used Seedtime, this is a great opportunity for you to get familiar with it. And again, this is a new program. I'm still learning all the things. They're adding new features all the time. Even as far as a month ago or a few months ago, there are still new features that have been added since then. So I like that it's helping me to manage kind of some of the unorganized chaos in my mind. And I hope that it helps you to be able to track and take care of your garden this year, 2024. Okay, so here we go. The fastest way to plan your garden or small farm ever. It's free. Love that. I'm still using the free version of this. You can become a member and pay for that subscription. For now, I'm just using the free. So anything that you see here is a part of that subscription, okay? There is an invite friends feature, and that's what I'm gonna leave down in the description. So after you watch this video, please go down there and use that link to download. So over here, I'll get you guys a little bit closer here. We have the My Garden. So you can name your garden, and then you can change that name right here at the top, and you can change it to whatever you want to name it. So for now, I just have it as that, and then I'll probably do one eventually for my orchard. Here is the list of crops that I have added. So you can add your own, and they'll come up here on this calendar. You can change the date for the calendar. And to add the crops, you would go over to this green button on the upper right side, and that is where you add your individual crops. So there's the calendar section. Then you have the layout, then the tasks, the journal, classroom where they upload videos, community where you have other people that are also using this, and then there's a store. So we're going to start with the calendar, and that is basically what you just saw. And like I said, you can change the month that you want to look at. So if I'm looking at April, then it's going to give me all the things that are going to be done in April. There's bed preparation for the cauliflower, there's cultivating broccoli, there's cultivating kales, and it just gives you a breakdown of each task. So bed preparation for tomatoes, transplanting your tomatoes out. So once you put your information in over here by adding the crop, say I wanted to do, let's say we're gonna do some, let's do some basil, okay? Now you type in basil and it's showing you that there's 20% off in the shop because they have their own store. Then you can select which type of basil, and if it's not in here, you can add your own. So let's say we're gonna do Genovese, okay? That's like a pretty common basil. And then we're gonna label. Now, part of the labels that I do is I usually put which subplot it's in, whether it's heirloom or organic, or if it's like an F1 variety, like a hybrid, if it's open pollinated, any information that I can gather from it, I will put it in there. So let's just say that it's gonna go in subplot 1. I always put the location. And I usually put where the seeds are from. So whether it's from Johnny's or So True Seed, Eden Brothers, Baker Creek, whatever. And you can select which color that you want it to be. Okay, so this is handy, especially if you're doing multiple varieties of basil. Then you can do a little bit of a different variation of green, so you know that it's a different kind that's going in. So let's just select that. We'll do our advanced settings. And then you can go down. Now, down here, you can do it, plant it relative to the frost, or you can type in a manual date that you're going to seed it, okay? So say I wanted it to be 3 weeks before the last frost. You can also change the amount of weeks, the number of weeks, and you can change it to after the last frost. Okay, so looking at your seed packet is going to help you fill that information in, okay? What season are you growing it in? Are you doing fall and winter? Or are you doing spring and summer? Okay, and then there's the year. So now here it says transplant or direct seed. So there are some things that I start indoors and then I put them out once they have grown. So that gives me kind of a head start in the season. And then there's things that I know that I want to direct seed. So let's say for this video purpose that we're going to transplant it. I want it to be ready to transplant in, or it's actually going to be ready to transplant in 35 days. Okay, it's a warm season crop. Sorry guys, I think the cat's on the porch. You can set your alignment, so how it's going to be kind of staggered within that row when you go and plant it outside, or if you want it to be uniformed square. Then we have the spacing. You have your plant spacing in between. So there's row spacing and plant spacing. So plant spacing is like how close are those plants going to be together. And then there's the row, which is how far away are those rows from each other. Okay. Days to maturity, how long it takes. And that's, again, looking at your seed packet, 75 days from seeding. You can also do from transplanting. Okay. Harvest window, how long, like, is it going to take to, or how long can you harvest it? Or just mark until the end of the season. Okay. Succession planting, Ruger. How often do you want to, my hands are dirty, you can tell I've been in the garden. How often do you want to sow new seeds? So if succession sowing is not something that you're familiar with, it's okay. You do not have to succession sow. It's not something that a lot of first people that are starting out even know about. So those of you that want to get familiar with it, it's basically how often from that first set of seeds, how often or how long between the next sowing of seeds. So then that way, say lettuce, like if you plant lettuce out in the very beginning of the season and it takes 30 days to be able to harvest it, then you only have one crop or one harvest worth of lettuce. So say it takes 30 days, but you want to have lettuce during a few months, right? So then you're gonna plant that original set of lettuce seeds. Then 2 weeks later, you're gonna plant another set. So while that first set is growing, you have another set of seeds that are germinating, okay? So by the time that first set is done and at the end of its lifespan, you have another set of seeds that are getting ready to be harvested. And you can just keep going with that. So that's how long in between that first set of seeds do you want to plant another set so you can continue to have a harvest throughout the season. So then your first part of gardening that you did doesn't have to end in 30 days, right? You can continue to have that harvest throughout the season. And maybe not even that season. You got spring, summer, fall. There are some people that are able to grow lettuce within a high tunnel over the winter time. So it just depends on what your goals are. If you just want to do a one and done, great. If you want to do a succession planting so that you're not just one and done and you want to be able to help your family grow food throughout the entire year, then you're able to do that succession sowing. So that's what that is, succession spacing. You can do every 2 weeks, you can do every 3 weeks, 1 week, 4 weeks, whatever your amount is that you want to do. And you would look at that harvest date on your packet to know when that first set is gonna be ready. So then you can plant the other one about halfway through. That is typically what I do. So I have time to use up the first one before the next one's ready to be harvested. So if you didn't want any spacing in between, then you would just do it right after, a few weeks before that first harvest, you would be doing that second set of seeds. Okay, so once you're done entering all your information, you're gonna hit schedule, okay? Then it's gonna drop it here. So I'm gonna click the basil, okay? And it'll pop it up within this calendar based on when it's supposed to be planted. Okay, so there's the cabbage, cilantro. I don't know if it's February or if it's gonna go through. So anyways, it'll place it within here so then you'll know, oh, bed preparation for basil. So in February, that is when you're going to be planting the basil, and you can mark it as complete when it's done, okay? So now I'm gonna go over here to the layout, and this is what I have entered in to this software. Okay, so here's the garden that I showed you guys earlier. We have subplot 1, that's where the chickens are now. Then we have subplot 2, that's where they were. And then, I don't know if you remember the chicken coop, the run. And then the grapevines, we have the 4 things of carrots there. And then the watermelon beds on the side, as well as subplot 3 and 4, okay? So how we do this to get, there's your options here. So there's the selected where you can select parts of this. There's the layout settings, layers, landmarks, that's how I got like the trees. You can click it too. So tree, house, square, rectangle. Those are my blueberries and the blackberries, and that's how I did it through this circle here. And then there's planting locations. So if, say, I wanted to do another watermelon bed, I would select the circular because that's what I used here to add those in there. And then you can, once you have it on here, you can edit. You can change the color. You have the width and the length. And then you would hit apply, okay? Then you can duplicate it. So I created a second bed, and I did that by clicking that duplicate, okay, right there. You can see it there. And then you can delete it, and then you can edit it, okay? So that's how I got these rows on here. I'm gonna create a walkway here, and there's walkways here. There's all the different beds that I have. This is my herb, and that's my medicinal bed there. So I have all of those. Now, if I wanted to go through and see what my garden's gonna look like in, say, we're in January right now, in February, then you can select February. If you wanna see what it's gonna look like in March, oh, see how that changed? So based on when things are supposed to be planted, it's gonna look different. Okay, so here we have our winter giant spinach. Excuse you, Ruger. And then we have the kale, Olden Boar. And same thing, winter giant. Okay, so we have those set up there. And then these are overlapped. So I'm gonna have to work on that and getting that fixed. But we have lettuce, the butter crunch lettuce. Then we have freckles and Salanova green butter lettuce. So it just depends on what's going to be ready for planting. So it looks like by that time the carrots are going to be ready to go in. So those are Danvers carrots that we have there. And same thing for up here in subplot 3. We have the strawberries here, and then here we're going to be planting Long Island Improved Brussels. Same thing there. Catskill Brussels. And then we'll have down here, we'll have Long Island Improve. And we'll also have the Catskill down there. Okay, so I have things kind of staggered going in. Over here, subplot 3, we've got our white Spanish sweet onions. Okay, those are a long day. And same thing here. Actually, here we have the Texas Early Grano and Ruby Red, long day. Okay, so on here, if we wanted to say add a new crop, then you would hit crops. It would pull up this top bar here. Okay, and this is where you can actually look through your different crops. That's going to be ready. So if it's highlighted like this, then that means that it's ready by that date. That it's going to be like planted within there, or actually that date right there. So that's how you can tell which day you're on. So by March 21st, those will be ready or already in. Okay, so you can just kind of keep scrolling through. Carrots will be in by that date. Kale, lettuce, and that might be it. Nope, the onions, yeah, that's right. Spinach, strawberries will be there, and that's it, okay? So if I wanted to add a new crop, just like we did on the other screen, then there's the crop option right there, add crop, and then the same thing. So you would type in the variety or the category, like onions, tomatoes, cucumbers. Let's type in cucumber. And then again, I'm just doing this to kind of solidify what we learned the last time. Let's do burpee. And then again, where it's at, where the seeds are from, heirloom, organic, that information, I always put it in here so that I know looking at it, I don't have to go and figure out or remember on my garden plan. Okay, so say we are in layout, which is where I was, and I want to go through here and I want to add a crop in here, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click crop. And if it's not highlighted here, then that means that it's too early or too late to be planted onto your layout, okay? So let's say we're gonna go to March, okay? So we've got March, and then we're gonna scroll through to see, okay, so I can plant some Ethiopian blue kale. For sake of this video, I'll just click that. So I'm gonna grab that. So I click down and drag to place it, okay? So it's placed right there. And the easiest way to do this is to zoom in, and you're gonna click there and drag. So each one of these is a new plant, okay? And it tells you that's 5 feet across, and that's 1 foot 4 inches that way, okay? So I can get 4 plants in there, or as many as you want, okay? So let's just place 4 there. Now, it's automatically going to do the spacing for you as you drag it down the other way, okay? So that means that I can get what? 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 plants in that spacing, okay? So you can also, I have it set as offset, but if you wanted to square it up, you could do that, okay? So spacing in between rows is about 16 inches, in between plants is 16 inches. So both directions is gonna be 16 inches. So that tells you how far apart to plant them. And that's it. So one other thing that I want to go over, so there was the calendar, okay, with all the different things to do. And then I'm gonna click the tasks. So it's loading. And this just kind of gives you a rundown that's a little bit easier to read. And I like how it has this print button. So I printed it out just so that I can keep on track with my garden. You can also go through and do journaling, write like some notes that are important as you've learned during the growing season. Okay, so my battery's getting ready to die, but I wanted to just do that as a quick overview. I don't want to do too many different specifics because I don't want to complicate it. That's basically the rundown as far as just the different features that Seedtime has. I'm going to be using this software in the garden for the duration of the year. It's going to help me with things like the bed prep, the direct seeding, the transplanting, the cultivations of all of these different crops basically that I'm growing. So if you want to learn along the way, I invite you to join me on those videos. Again, I'll be doing those once a week utilizing this software. So I hope that this was helpful, just giving you kind of a beginner intro into Seedtime. Again, I'm gonna leave the description, leave the link down in the description so that you're able to check this out for yourself. So that's gonna be it for this video. I will catch you guys on the next one, and please hit that subscribe button to get notifications for those next videos that are gonna be coming out. So I'll catch you guys later. Bye.